Get your hands off me, do you hear me? Get off. That scream, man, it split my Saturday wide open, like a pane of glass shattering in a room you thought was safe. One second I was in my backyard setting up for what was supposed to be a laid-back barbecue, colleague coming over grill just getting hot, the whole normal life thing. Next second I'm hearing chaos spill out onto my driveway. I'd invited Tracy, figured we'd laugh about work and try to leave it behind for a night. Instead I heard someone yelling orders, voices sharp and mean, someone else hitting the ground hard. And that was the moment everything changed around here. That's when Maplewood stopped being just another quiet neighborhood and turned into ground zero for a legal earthquake. If you're sitting there thinking, stuff like this can't happen where I live, not to me, well, let me just walk you through how fast it all flipped. It was supposed to be the kind of evening where you know every single move. I'd set out chairs, lit up the old Weber, laid out the ketchup and mustard in a way that almost felt like a ritual. Mrs. Peterson next door, she was in her garden, hair silver and shining in the light, trimming her roses like always. Hosting another one of your famous cookouts, Michael, she called. We both grinned. She'd survived more of my parties than she'd ever admit. You're safe, Mrs. Peterson, I joked. Just a little get-together this time, nothing like that 4th of July. She laughed, the kind of neighborly laugh you can feel in your bones. Kids played out front, their voices rising above the usual Saturday hush. This street, it felt like home, you know? Like everybody was looking out for each other, not over each other. Phone buzzed. Tracy. Michael running a bit late, client kept talking. Her voice always calm, a little wry. No sweat. I told her, checking the grill with my free hand. Everybody's eager to meet the woman who saved us from those zoning nightmares. Truth is, Tracy Williams had been a lifeline for my work, legal consultant. Or so I thought, sharp as a razor, already fixed 2 disasters before they started. She promised she'd be there soon. I figured I had time, so I went to grab steaks from the fridge. That's when I spotted Maplewood's security SUV parked at the edge of my driveway, the driver glued to his radio staring at my house. And it wasn't that casual glance you get from a bored guard. It was intense, focused, like a hunting dog on a scent. I stood at my window just watching him watch me, and something in my stomach went cold. Still, I tried to shake it off. Maybe he was just killing time logging hours. That's what we paid them for, right? To keep us safe, supposedly. But it stuck with me. The way he looked. The way he stayed. The way my house suddenly felt less like my own. I walked back to the kitchen, steaks in hand, telling myself not to be paranoid. The sun was golden. The wine I'd picked out was a little fancier than usual, but hey, I figured tonight felt special. The guard kept staring. I kept pretending I didn't notice. By the time Tracy finally pulled up, the guests had barely grabbed their drinks. She stepped out of her car, professional, confident, not a hair out of place. Then right there on my driveway, 3 security guards stepped out from the shadows. Their uniforms, their badges, their whole stance screamed, "We run this place." The lead one, Morrison, was built like a fridge and twice as cold. "Ma'am, need to see some ID." His tone, not a request. Tracy was thrown. You could see it. "I'm here for Michael Thompson's barbecue. I was invited." "That's the problem," Morrison said, stepping in too close. "Your name's not on our list. For all we know, you're casing properties for another developer." The other 2 guards flanked her, one snapping photos, the other just blocking any way out. It was intimidation, pure and simple. I watched, stunned, heart pounding. This wasn't some mix-up. It was a performance, a power move, right there in my own front yard. Tracy tried to step past. "This is ridiculous. Michael is expecting me." Morrison barked, "Stop right there." His voice cracked through the air like a whip. That's when he grabbed her. She tried to pull away. He yanked her back hard. She hit the concrete purse, spilling everywhere. Silence. Shock. I don't care who you are, seeing someone you invited lying on your driveway with 3 guards looming over her, it just kills something inside you. "Stay down till we're finished," Morrison ordered. "Maybe crawling will teach you some respect." That was it. I exploded out my door, running at them, yelling, "What the hell are you doing? Get away from her!" Morrison turned, hand on his radio, voice low and threatening. "Back off, Thompson, or you're next. This is official business. Interfere and you'll get fined or worse." I knelt by Tracy, helping her up. She was shaken, but there was something in her eyes, cold, calculating, steady, in a way that made me feel even more off balance. "Are you all right?" I asked. But she was already dusting herself off, her face unreadable. She turned to Morrison, voice flat and deadly. "What's your full name, officer?" The way she said officer, I almost laughed, but it wasn't the time. Morrison puffed up. Jake Morrison, head of security. Got a problem. Tracy just smiled, a slow, terrifying smile that said she'd already won. Thank you for inviting me, Michael, she said, voice carrying. This has been very educational. Then she got in her car and drove away, leaving Morrison and his goons high-fiving each other, totally clueless about the disaster they'd just unleashed. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Tracy's fall, Morrison's smirk, the absolute sense of injustice. By morning, I was done waiting. I marched into the HOA office demanding answers. Margaret Walsh, the HOA president, met me with all the warmth of a traffic stop. Security incident, she called it. Our guards acted according to protocol. Your guest triggered multiple red flags. You signed the agreement. I tried to argue she wasn't listening. She slid a business card across the table, told me her lawyers would bury me if I sued, warned me a court fight would cost $75,000 at least. Then she offered to settle for $1,500. I was so mad I could barely see straight. She thought I'd just take it, that I'd just pay up and go away. But she made one mistake. She thought Tracy was just a dinner guest. That afternoon, I called Tracy. I apologized, told her how ugly it all got. She was silent a second, then said, Don't pay a thing, Michael. The time for them to fix this is over. Then she hung up. Turns out Tracy Williams wasn't just a legal consultant. When I finally visited her office, 15th floor Government Plaza, I found out she was the district attorney for our whole region, the DA. The woman Morrison assaulted on my driveway was the one person with the power to bring the whole rotten system down. The next HOA meeting. You had to be there to believe it. Margaret was spinning her story at the podium, security protocols, all that. Morrison and his guards lined up behind her, acting tough. That's when Tracy walked in, federal badge in hand, backed by 4 investigators. The room froze. This meeting is under federal authority, Tracy announced. Stand down. The look on Morrison's face. If you've ever seen a man realize he's ruined his whole life in 1 second, you know. Tracy played the security footage. Every insult, every threat, every blow, the crowd lost it. Phones went up. People shouted. Morrison went white, hands shaking. Margaret tried to sneak out, no dice. The feds had her boxed in. By the end of that night, Morrison and his team were under arrest. Margaret was facing racketeering charges. And every ugly, secret, fake fines, invented violations, stolen funds poured into the open. The community, my neighbors, people who'd been afraid to speak, finally found their voices. We threw out the old board, passed the Maplewood Rights Charter, started refunding every penny they'd stolen. And Tracy, she led the task force that spread our fight far beyond our little street. By the time the news trucks left, Maplewood was a different place. Kids laughing, flags flying, people smiling again, not scared. We'd watched power run wild, and we brought it to heel. And I learned something. Real power. It doesn't need to threaten or humiliate. It just needs truth and a whole lot of courage to speak it out loud. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you have stood up, risked everything, if it meant calling out injustice in your own backyard? Or would you have paid the fine and hoped it would all go away? I'd love to hear your take. Drop your thoughts or tell me your own story. Have you ever faced down authority when you knew you were right? I promise I'll read every word. Sometimes justice starts with a simple barbecue invitation, and sometimes it takes just one person standing up so everyone else finally can too.